Desmo Resto, welcome back. Been a while, and there's kind of good reason for that. We've got the Monster 750 here. I've got just picked up some new high capacity coils and leads and such like, so that's going on to there, along with a set of uprated starter cables. So those will be going on to this one, and the aim is that that will certainly help the starting and running issues with that. So it's certainly not going to hurt, but it's going to eliminate a couple of things. Practically the only original things that have not been upgraded, repaired or sorted on this bike, so hopefully that's going to sort that. I've had the exhausts cut and welded, but they're still not quite right, so they're going to need to be cut and welded again. So that's the update on that. So it's still sat here. That's the point, is this poor old bike is still sat here needing to be finished and then used. You know, I think I've done 100 miles on it since I used it, 150 since it kind of got up and running, since its last MOT. So that's there, but as you can see, as we look around the garage, this is largely 748 SP parts, all in here, and then down underneath here, this is largely SPS parts with SP crankcases kind of thrown in the mix, and a couple of boxes of SP parts there too. But what you can see, or I don't know if you can see back here, is obviously I had all of my fastenings and fittings, bolts and nuts, zinc plated for multiple bikes. I've got probably more than enough for maybe 2 to 3 bikes worth of bolts and fastenings, and it's all come back in a rather lovely job. You know, if we look at that, that's a lovely piece of something. So that's for the SP. But what you can probably tell is, although I've got everything kind of neatly organized here, you know, bolts in various sizes, many boxes, I've run out of space. I've got no operating space. I can't do anything. You know, the bench is full of boxes of bolts and nuts and plates and washers. The drawers are all full of that. The desk is embarrassingly carnage. And so I need to do something to be able to do something. So the plan is, in this space here, is to get a set of heavy duty, or build a set of industrial strength, super heavy duty shelving using kind of key clamp and scaffold poles to build in here. And I'm toying with the idea of having one shelf sort of this high, so that I could slide one bike underneath, because ultimately all of these boxes are going to end up being bikes. So there are some parts that need to be sold, but ultimately the aim is to turn these boxes into bikes, and then be able to tuck them out of the way. So possibly have a high enough shelf, a bit like the same height as my stand-up desk there. I can get a bike underneath there, certainly this one if I take the mirrors off. I can get a bike tucked in under that desk. If I have one similar height over here, it's around 4 foot, I can slide a bike in underneath. It might give me enough space here to build a high shelf to be able to get another bike in, so arguably 2 bikes worth. Because once the frame for the SP gets built, gets painted rather, and starts to get built, I need it somewhere where it's not going to get damaged. I need it tucked up out the way, somewhere safe where it's not going to get knocked and chipped and damaged as the build slowly progresses. So my thinking is, this height here, to be able to get double stack boxes underneath while we're building, have this shelf here that's high enough and strong enough to be able to take a bike during its build, and if necessarily store a bike there over the winter months if it's not being used, to give me more floor space, and then still have a little bit of space on another shelf above it for ultimately paddock stands and various things that you've got to store places. But in the meantime, I should be able to get double boxes in here, double boxes in here, and maybe a single box up there. That will free up this space underneath the bench so the monster can slide under there if I'm not using it, and it will give me some workspace. Or ultimately I leave this middle shelf clear and use that as a second workbench to be able to actually get stuff done. Because in order to work on this monster, I need the seat off, I need the tank off, but I need to put it somewhere. And right now, the danger is I put it on the floor, it's going to get kicked, it's going to get chipped, it's going to get damaged. So it's having a workspace where you can keep everything safe, you can stay organised, and go from there. I've got parts that I need to get sold, so I need to get them down, photographed and listed, and be able to easily access them and get them moved off, because I vaguely know what's in these boxes. But if I needed to find something, I'm just going to spend ages kind of hunting around and moving one thing to another and another, and it's a bit like kind of Ducati Jenga. So that's where we're at. So we are going to now, I'll do a time lapse of trying to get this thing sorted. It could take me a couple of weeks. But yeah, key clamp scaffold poles. I've got a way to make sure that if I do use that second shelf for a bike, that I can uprate it and make sure it's mega strong, more than strong enough. And I'd probably pick up an engine crane to be able to move it. I've got probably enough height to be able to use an engine crane to be able to get it in and out relatively simply. So that's where we're at. Our next mission is to try and sort this out so that we can actually make some progress on the bikes. But I've been umming and ahhing as to what to do. Do I spend some money on the bikes? But I think I've just got to invest some money in the space that's going to allow these bikes to get done. Because without this, I can't move forward. I've tried kind of getting stuff going on, but now that I've got the plating back, and now that I want to start moving forward with having parts that are nice and clean and ready to go back on the bike, I need somewhere safe for them to go. And so this shelf has got to be the way. I did look into just buying some of these, these kind of blue and orange industrial kind of shelvings, but I just don't have the space. They're either too long or too short or too wide or too high or whatever. So my option is to go bespoke and build myself something kind of the heights that I need it. So that's where we're at. Let's see how this goes. Onwards. Finally, an update. The shelves are finished. Okay, so may not look much, but we had to build them robust. We had to rebate bits to fit around the fittings, plane down the old scaffold boards to make everything look tidy, and now the job is to get all of this plus the stuff in the van neatly into here and try and make the most of the space, and then we can get on with some stuff. So enough of that, and let's get on with some packing. Done. finally, now we can crack on with the monster, we can crack on with the SP, and we can get going.